Good morning, Abundant Life. Today we're going to be continuing our study of John chapter 9, verses 1 through 12. Jesus heals a man who had been born blind, but he heals them with a lot of different moving parts, a lot of steps to it. He has to spit, he has to make mud, rubs the mud on the man's eyes, tells him to go wash it off in a pool, but a certain pool, not just any water. You have to go to this particular pool. Why all these moving parts for something that's so simple as healing somebody? Well, wouldn't certain healings require more power than others? Healing a fever might be one thing, but this was blindness. And wouldn't it need more than just touching the man? You would think so. That would make sense, except there were way bigger healings than this one. He healed Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days, by saying, "Hey, Lazarus, come on out." He healed a paralyzed man by just healing him. There had to be an easier way to do this. Why didn't Jesus do that? One of everybody's favorite movies is Raiders of the Lost Ark, the very first one. And I remember seeing it in a theater when it came out. And that great scene where Indiana Jones is running through the marketplace and bad guys are chasing him. And then all of a sudden, the crowd parts and there's this gigantic bad guy with this huge sword, and he's ready to do Indy in. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, how is he going to get out of this one? Well, Indiana Jones just takes his gun out and shoots the guy. And even though you just saw a man get killed, the theater erupted in laughter because everyone was thinking the same thing I was. How is he going to get out of this one? That's easy. I guess apparently when they were filming that, what happened was Harrison Ford, they'd done this scene many multiple times. They had this long fight choreography all planned, and it was very hot, and Harrison Ford was tired. And so on this particular take, rather than going through all that rigmarole once again, he just took his gun out and shot him. And the actor playing the bad guy played along with it and fell over. And they realized that this is better. The easy way's better. All right. So why didn't Jesus use the easy way? Why? Well, if we go back earlier in the passage, we're going to see some clues. And we're going to start to see why Jesus did this healing the way he did. So let's go back and let's look at verses 1 and 2 again. As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Now, notice the assumption, the preconceived notion that the disciples had when they saw him was obviously sin was involved. And there's a good chance that it was this man's fault. Even if he was born blind, God must have known you're going to do something to deserve this. So our task right now, Jesus, as followers of you, as ones who are going to sit on your right and on your left in the kingdom, is we need to determine who's responsible for this, whose fault it was. Um, what would that do to him? If you were that blind man, what would that do to you? They're not talking to you, they're talking about you. You see, to them, you're nothing more than a subject of debate. But then Jesus comes along to heal him. He could have done it the quick way. He could have said, "Hey, you can see now." He could have just touched him and he could see. But instead, Jesus took some time. Took some time. He put his hands on him. He took his time with him. Yes, he made the mud, rubbed it on his eyes. You see, Jesus was sending the message, you're more than just a subject for debate. You're a person, and you're a person who's hurting. And I'm going to do something about that. Now, what did this man need? Well, sure, he needed to see again, but Jesus saw he needs something more. And how Jesus chose to heal him reveals something about what he saw in this particular guy and what this guy needed. So again, what did he need? Well, remember when Jesus healed the leper? Jesus touched the leper. When he healed the centurion's son, the centurion said, "Oh, you don't." He sent his envoys to say, "Hey, our master says you don't need to come to his house." He's a guy who can give orders. He understands that. That's how he thinks. You can just give the order. You don't even have to be there and it'll happen. That's how the centurion would relate to Jesus. How the blind man would relate was very different. So Jesus, get this, he never heals people the same way twice. He does it in a way that meets their needs. Now, here's this guy. All his life, he's been told your blindness must be because of something you did or your parents did. How do you carry that guilt around with you? How do you carry the what people have told you like that around with you? And so Jesus shows up. I'm not going to debate about you. You're not just something, a topic for discussion. I'm going to give you what you need. Now, there was one other thing that this guy needed. Very important. Tune in next time and you'll find out. Till then, have a great day.